Hello, my name is Carly Jones, and I would like to focus my final project on a discussion of Burton Watson's translation of the Lotus Sutra. I will provide an expedient approach to the idea of expedient means. Expedient means is a term used in Chinese Buddhism to denote the use of skillful means to help bring living individuals to enlightenment, and is the principal idea of this scripture. What distinguishes the sutra from those that preceded is the wide audience that it communicates to, and the universal Buddhahood that it promises. The chapter titled Expedient Means, which follows the introduction, begins by demonstrating the difficulties of the path to enlightenment and how the individual can overcome these obstacles and eventually obtain truth. Watson, in this example, describes the unfathomable nature of the Buddhahood, claiming that, beginning quote, "The wisdom of the Buddha is infinitely profound and immeasurable. The door to this wisdom is difficult to understand and difficult to enter." End quote. There is a clear distinction established early on in the text between those spiritually heightened individuals who have the ability to perceive the message of the Lotus Sutra, and those who require assistance in their path to enlightenment. These spiritually awakened people, the Lotus Sutra stresses have a responsibility to help those who have not yet achieved wisdom. They are defined as bodhisattvas, those enlightened individuals who exhibit a great deal of compassion in their teachings. The primary target audience of the Lotus Sutra, therefore, are these people who will consequently be able to communicate the message of the scripture to others in need. Shakyamuni's contemplation of the profundity of the Buddhahood, appearing at the beginning of the Expedient Means chapter, confirms the fact that the sutra primarily addresses the bodhisattvas. Shakyamuni exclaims, beginning quote, "The wisdom of the thus come one is expansive and profound. He has unmeasurable mercy, unlimited eloquence, power, fearlessness, concentration, emancipation, and samadhis, and has deeply entered the boundless awakened to the law never before attained." End quote. This example illustrates the complexity of the Buddhas as a select group of individuals. They are bound by their mutual understanding of the ways of the world, and even more significantly, what lies beyond human existence. Most importantly, however, is the defining characteristic of the bodhisattvas, their ability and duty to facilitate the people with the world come one's message, so that they too can obtain enlightenment. In this passage, Shakyamuni describes their agenda. The thus come one knows how to make various kinds of distinctions and to expound the teaching skillfully. His words are soft and gentle, and can delight in the hearts of the assembly. To sum it up, the Buddha has fully realized the law that is limitless, boundless, and never before attained. End quote. This passage illuminates a bodhisattva path in the way in which these individuals delight in the hearts of the assembly, and help put an end to the overwhelming amount of suffering of those who have not yet achieved awareness. Their purpose is something greater than themselves. In addition, the Lotus Sutra relies heavily on the use of parables to make its argument. One example is the use of expedient means, which occurs in the parable of the burning house. A father tricks his children into leaving a house that is on fire by telling them that there are bejeweled carts outside waiting for them. In this example, life in this world equates to the people living in a house that is on fire. People perceive the world around them as an eternal reality and have the misconception that their worldly pursuits will last forever. In this idea, the Lotus Sutra implies that elicits suffering in the earthly world, the sense of attachment to materialistic things. Moreover, life in the parables is compared to a house that is on fire. Just like the house will eventually burn down, we will eventually die. It is a reality. The Bodhisattva's wish is to relieve us from the earthly cycle of life, death, and suffering. Chapter 12 of the Lotus Sutra, titled Devadatta, stands out in its extension of the possibility of Buddhahood to two groups of people who are historically absent from Buddhist scriptures. Firstly, I will discuss those people who have sinned. The Lotus Sutra maintains that even those supposedly evil people have the opportunity to reach nirvana. In this chapter, Shakyamuni discusses his experience with the seer Devadatta. He prophesies that he will eventually grow into a Buddha despite the seer's repeated attempts at murdering him. This next verse will reveal how Shakyamuni's positive vision comes true. Beginning quote. Of great wisdom and virtue, brave and stalwart, you have converted and saved immeasurable things. Now those in the great assembly, as well as I myself, have all seen them. You expound the principle of the true entity. Open up the law of the single vehicle, broadly guiding the many beings, causing them quickly to attain Bodhi. The Devadatta's salvation from hell offers a portrait of hope, as even in darkness lies a resolve for a brighter future. Women also, for the first time, are seen as potential candidates for the Buddhahood. The Lotus Sutra breaks the preceding stereotype that depicts women as simply distractions to the male pursuit of enlightenment. Manjushri's description of the Dragon King's daughter and her exemplification of an undeniably powerful spirit offers a departure from the predominantly male inclusiveness society of Buddhist thinkers. Beginning quote. There is the daughter of the Dragon King Sagara. Her wisdom has keen roots, and she is good at understanding the root activities and deeds of living beings. She has mastered the Dharanis. She is fully endowed with blessings, and when it comes to conceiving in mind and expounding by mouth, she is subtle, wonderful, kind, compassionate, benevolent, yielding. She is gentle and refined in will, capable of Bodhi. Thus, the Lotus Sutra's discussion of both those fallen individuals and woman's triumph over pre-existing conceptions of them as doomed and unable to enter the Buddhahood exhibits how this scripture offers a universal Buddhahood to all. I'd like to conclude my video presentation with this passage taken from the final chapter of the text titled Universal Worthy, that I would argue most wholeheartedly embodies the message of the Lotus Sutra. Beginning quote. If good men and good women will fulfill four conditions in the time after the thus come one has entered extinction, that they will be able to acquire this Lotus Sutra. First, they must be protested and kept in mind by the Buddhas. Second, they must plant the roots of the virtue. Third, they must enter the stage where they are sure of reaching enlightenment. Fourth, they must conceive a determination to save all living beings. The Lotus Sutra presents an unparalleled account of the universal nature of the Buddhahood, through its discussion of the Bodhisattva path and the use of expedient means to help relieve human suffering. My name is Carly Jones, and I thank you for your time. I hope my expedient approach to the idea of expedient means was helpful.